Sagittarius. When the Tower, the Chariot, and Strength reveal themselves in the same breath, there is no room for distraction. Not today. Not when the sky is moving your fate into alignment with the truth you've tried to ignore for far too long. The Tower doesn't ask for permission. It arrives like a divine collapse, not to destroy you, but to shatter the illusion you've been pouring your soul into. Something, or someone, has been draining your light quietly, consistently, and finally, it will break. The Chariot enters next, not with confusion, but with fire. It says, pick a direction and move. There is no time to turn around and ask for permission to leave what you've outgrown. There is no map for this new chapter, only momentum, and the knowing that the old road is closed, and then strength. She does not roar, she waits, until you realize that true power was never about endurance. It was about self-respect. If you don't draw the line, someone else will. And tomorrow, December the 2nd, something will be revealed. Not a rumor, not a maybe, a truth. So sharp and necessary that it will carve open the next phase of your life. If you ignore it, the cycle repeats, harsher, louder, and more expensive in both time and pain. But stay, because what hasn't been said yet might just save you from a breakdown you do not have to experience. If this message feels like it was written for your soul, anchor it with your intention. Write in the comments, today, I set myself free in love and protect myself in light. Say it like a vow. Let it seal your energy before we open the cards. Together, like you're sitting at a familiar table. And I, an old soul who has crossed too many timelines to pretend I don't know what this means for you. I speak with affection, but I will not water down the urgency. Because your intuition, the one you try to silence, has been whispering to you for days. Tell me gently, Sagittarius. Have you felt it? That strange flutter in your chest, like something is on its way out, or finally about to break free. That feeling is not anxiety, it's awareness. Something ancient in you is awakening. And it's not on anyone's calendar, but your own. Not a deadline, a destiny. Tomorrow, December 2nd, it begins. A shift so profound it may feel, at first, like the ground beneath you is crumbling. But listen, carefully. The one who falls is not you. What collapses is the structure that no longer feeds your soul. The burden that's been stealing your fire in the name of loyalty, comfort, or duty. Before I draw the first card, I invite you to pause. Can you feel how heavy everything has been lately? Like you're carrying a backpack full of rocks that no one else sees, and no one ever offered to hold. That weight was never yours to begin with. It was a lesson, and now it's a choice. You, child of fire and truth, were never meant to carry what others refuse to release. That's why I ask you, breathe with me now, slowly, deliberately. Let the cards speak. I didn't pull the first card. It flew, almost pushed onto the table by an unseen hand. It was the Tower, and my voice does not shake when I tell you this. Because this card is not a warning. It's a resurrection. The Tower means enough. It ends the suffering that you didn't realize had become your new normal. It exposes the structures, emotional, financial, relational, that are decaying behind the scenes. It liberates you from the storyline you've been gaslighting yourself into accepting, and it blows fresh wind into the lungs of your spirit. But this is also where many falter, because clarity is terrifying. because truth is irreversible. But hear me clearly, you will not trip over the same stone again, unless you insist on carrying it in your pocket. And if you're still unsure, life will not wait. Tomorrow, it will tear it open at so, with precision, not to punish, but to prepare you. So tell me, deep in the vault of your own soul, do you want to wait until chaos rips it from your hands? Or will you raise your arms today and say, enough, I choose light, I choose truth, I choose myself. The test is not about what you lose, it's about what you finally allow yourself to receive once the noise is gone. And that, Sagittarius, is where our story begins. Not in the fire that collapses the old, but in the silence that follows, where your arrow is finally free to aim true. And the sky whispers, now you are ready. What's happening now isn't a punishment, it's an adjustment, a sacred realignment designed not to humble you, but to call you back to yourself. There's something you've been holding on to, not out of love, but out of habit. And though your lips stay silent out of caution, your back carries the weight. Your breath shortens beneath it. And your dreams, they speak in symbols, half remembered at sunrise, but echoing loud enough for your soul to notice. It may be a bond you've forgiven too many times. So many you've lost the language of self-respect. It may be a place that no longer holds your spirit, yet you remain, simply because the unknown feels heavier than stagnation. But listen closely. The tower does not come to shame you. It comes to clear the room. Life is telling you with sharp clarity, you are worthy of relationships and projects that don't dim your fire to feel comfortable near it, but fan it, so you can shine again. And now, can you feel it? A soft whisper, arriving at the same time as the truth, not 1 second late, not one breath early. That's the alignment. And with it comes the energy of 7 and 8 burning through your reading. I smile when I see this, because I know what it means for a soul like yours, restless and wise. 7. The chariot, your card, the path forward, not of reckless speed, but of conscious momentum, the kind of movement that happens when you take the reins of your destiny, without rushing, without apology. 8. Strength, not brute force, not shouting, but calm mastery, courage without chaos, the power to draw a line without needing anyone's approval. A boundary, as quiet as it is unshakable. Together, these two forces tell me something. A sudden shift is opening a road, one that won't disappear this time, as long as you stay in your power. So breathe, Sagittarius, pause and reflect, because the world around you is moving fast. But that doesn't mean you have to. Don't let the urgency of others drag you into shortcuts not made for your soul. This time, you're choosing your timeline, and your timing is divine. Tomorrow, without resistance, things will click into place. Not because you forced them, but because you finally stopped clutching what was trying to leave. And when it happens, when the road suddenly clears in a place you once thought was a dead end, I want you to remember this moment. And I ask you, with gentleness but clarity, will you resist? Will you explain yourself again and again to those who never really listened? Will you debate what's already obvious? Will you keep breathing life into stories that no longer represent who you are? Or will you stay silent and radiant, decisive but kind, steady but clear? Because what's coming is not just an event, it's a revelation. The veil will lift, and someone's true face, or a situation's core will be exposed. You won't be able to unsee it, and you won't want to. That's the power of the Tower. When it lines up with the Chariot, everything crooked is exposed, and you, with strength rooted in your chest, will respond from dignity, not fear. There's also something I cannot leave unsaid, because your energy demands truth. And I will not disrespect your fire by softening it. You've spent too long in places where your worth was not honored, where you absorbed the moods and energies of others as if they were your own. And every day you stay in environments that do not invite your growth, another part of your light goes dim. That heaviness you've been feeling lately. It's not weakness. It's not failure. It's spiritual saturation. Your soul is asking, begging for detox, for stillness, for sacred space. So, listen. You don't need to convince anyone. You need to reclaim yourself. Let me speak to you plainly, not as a reader, but as a voice of experience, like a wise elder across the fire. Someone is watching you, not necessarily out of hate, but because your boundaries irritate their control, because your light exposes their shadows, because your elevation challenges their illusions, and because you've made it easy to be leaned on, even when you are the one needing support. You are not here to be used as leverage. You are not here to anchor those who refuse to sail. You are here to walk freely, boldly, toward your divine destination. So let this be the reminder you didn't know you needed. You are not behind. You are not too much. You are not too late. You are simply returning to truth, to strength, to the fire only you can carry. There's a presence, a subtle one. It doesn't scream, it watches, it tests you, pressures you, tightens its grip when you lower your guard. And yet, even in your most vulnerable state, you're far more aware than it will ever be. Your silence is not submission, it's strategy, it's spiritual listening. It's the grace of someone who has learned not everything deserves your explanation, your memory, sharp, your intuition, louder than words, and your heart, it sees what no eye can detect. You don't need to expose anyone with noise. Your energy already speaks volumes. But now, you must protect your doorway. Don't let chaos walk across your new threshold. Don't mistake kindness for weakness. And never forget, real strength doesn't shout. It sets boundaries in calm silence. The Archangel Michael steps forward in your reading now, a warrior of divine clarity, and asks me to deliver this message to you, slowly, clearly, and with full presence. Do not dwell on futures your soul has already outgrown. Let that line echo. Let it guide you. There are more choices available to you than you're allowing yourself to consider. More open doors than you dare to walk through right now. But in order to see them, you need something few dare to cultivate: inner stillness and radical trust. So today, I gently advise, avoid conversations that fog your clarity. Don't share your visions with those who cannot carry them with respect. And guard your energy the way you would guard the sacred center of your home. Let your energy become your sanctuary. Let it reflect the truth of your becoming. And if you're open to a small sacred gesture, let us do it now, together, as if we were sitting across from each other, at a wooden table, cards open, truth between us. Place your hand over your heart, or let it rest near your solar plexus. Feel that warmth. Now, speak this divine decree aloud, strongly, with your name if you wish. I, Sagittarius, release all that burdens me with love. I seal my boundaries in light, and I walk only toward what honors me. Let that phrase ring through your chest, like a drumbeat that awakens your spine and gently straightens your posture. With it, the right chariot arrives, and it does not shake. It aligns. It doesn't ask for credentials. It recognizes the energy you now carry. And as you stand in that energy, I feel something gentle, ancient, and kind emerge behind you. A presence that rests its weight against your back and presses a soft kiss on the crown of your head. A soul companion, a guide, perhaps an ancestor, or a spirit who walked with you in a quieter chapter of your life. They don't speak with words. They anchor with trust. Their message: don't be afraid. This trial is not meant to break you. It is meant to refine you, to restore your dignity, to clear the fog. Before you waste another year walking in someone else's dream. If lately you've been seeing feathers in strange places, if small birds have come closer than usual, if your dreams feature clean water, unfamiliar homes, or departing trains, these are not coincidences. They are confirmations. The universe is guiding you, minute by minute, even when you don't feel it, even when your courage retreats into silence. And I will not abandon you here, my beloved archer, just because the emotional tides are rising within you. I know, part of you wants to disappear, to pull back, to let it pass. But hear this clearly. Your retreat is not escape. Your stillness is not hiding. Your quiet is not weakness. It is your conscious choice to return to your center. And from that sacred place, you will not only survive this wave, you will shape the next one. Let me remind you, tenderly but truthfully, what the tower whispered to us at the very beginning. This is not your collapse. This is your rising. This is your true name returning to you, in your own voice, on your own terms, under your own stars. No matter what happens tomorrow, let it happen without pushing it away or trying to rescue what has already expired. Don't chase after breadcrumbs when your table deserves fresh bread and hands that know how to serve with love, not manipulation. Trust this. The emptiness you fear isn't truly empty. It's space, and that space is sacred. It's waiting for something more honest, more fair, and more aligned with your growth. And never forget, your card is the chariot. You don't wait for others to drive your life forward. You do not hand the wheel to uncertainty. You were born to steer, with conviction and with grace and strength. She never leaves your side. Your voice does not need to be loud to be felt, to be heard, to be remembered. Let me tell you something now, and I will say it with the gentleness you deserve. The wound that made you doubt yourself was not born yesterday. Somewhere along the way, you were emotionally unsupported. Maybe you were taught that your sensitivity was too much. Maybe you believed that love must be earned through pleasing others. That belief system has asked you to carry too much, to silence yourself, to bend for the sake of peace. But that version of you no longer fits the truth of who you are becoming. December 2nd does not come to punish you. It arrives to graduate you. You will see a sign, a sentence, a silence, or a small behavior that, without theatrics, reveals the whole story. It will give you permission to make the move you've been delaying out of fear of choosing wrong. But here's what I know. Watching you through the eyes of an elder, when you see the map, you rarely lose. your way. So if your mind is racing into the future, slow down, return to breath, and hold this image. You, in your kitchen, a warm cup of tea in your hands, watching the light spill through the window at sunrise. No rush, no voices pulling at your sleeve, no noise, just truth. And you, beside it, not proving, not defending, just choosing, not from pain, not from revenge, but from maturity, the kind of growth that no longer needs to announce itself. You feel the cup, you feel the heat, and you remember, you are alive, and you choose what nourishes you, not what tolerates you. That, my dear Sagittarius, is strength. Then you rise, keys in hand, and walk forward. That is the chariot, and that is your power. But I must prepare you for one more thing. Not everyone will celebrate your clarity, and that is okay. You are not here to convince anyone of your process. Some will try to bait you, emotionally, psychologically, through whispers and drama. If they call you into battle, don't answer. If they provoke you, breathe. Meet their gaze with stillness, or leave without guilt. Your energy is gold, and tomorrow, you'll need all of it to receive the signals the universe is broadcasting to you through your body, your intuition, and your dreams. The tower is crystal clear. The chariot is still moving. And strength. She has never stopped holding the gate. This trio is not a warning, it's a monument. Your legacy beginning to take shape. Before we close, let me offer you 2 practical rituals to help your body follow your soul's clarity. First, go to bed early tonight if you can. Eat lightly, not as a rule, but as a kindness. Because when the soul shifts, the body needs space to listen. Second, take a sheet of paper. Draw 2 columns. On one side, write, what drains me. On the other, what nourishes me. Write only for yourself. No one else needs to see it. Then, with full reverence, tear the first side. Bless it. Thank it for the lessons, and let it go. Keep the second list. Place it in your wallet, your journal, or under your pillow. This simple act gives your subconscious a clean blueprint to build from. I know we've covered much already, but I won't end this until your energy feels settled, until every message lands in your heart the way it was meant to. You're not just preparing for a moment, you're preparing to embody your next era. And tomorrow, the wheel turns for you. Tomorrow won't be a day of grand public gestures. It will be a day of sacred inner conviction. You will see the missing piece of your life's puzzle, not because someone hands it to you, but because, for the first time in a long time, you stop justifying the unjustifiable. And in that stillness, from the quiet home within you, you will make the right choice. If the thought of losing something makes you tremble, ask yourself honestly, has what you're afraid to lose actually brought you joy lately? If the answer is no, then this isn't a loss, it's a return, a reclamation of your rightful place. Before we move into what comes next, I ask that you anchor this moment with a shared intention. Leave it in the comments, not as a performance, but as if lighting an invisible candle and placing it at the center of your sacred space. Say it like a quiet vow. I accept change and I walk forward with confidence along the path of my destiny. Let your words be the first stone on the bridge you are about to cross. With peace, not panic. And now, Sagittarius, listen closely. The stirrings within you will not subside, and that is a blessing, disguised as challenge. Do not rush to label what you're feeling tonight. Do not sign anything in haste. Do not promise what your soul cannot stand behind. Let the tower collapse on its own. Do not exhaust yourself trying to hold up the rubble. Let the chariot realign on its true path and stand strong in your noble trembling until your spirit says, now. There is something very specific, a small gesture, a subtle word, a pause between moments that will reveal someone's true intentions and guide you to the door that was meant for you all along. When it arrives, you'll recognize it immediately. There will be no confusion, because your clarity finally will not bend backward anymore. Looking into the energy before me, I feel the presence of an ancestor who sees you with immense love, a quiet guardian watching from beyond the veil, not rushing, not intervening, but holding space so vast that even your silence feels comforted by it. This presence grows clearer after dark, when sleep becomes elusive and your inner tides rise, when your chest, like a moonlit shoreline, beats with more intensity than usual. They are with you in those moments. They are near when you feel most alone. And if I could put their message into one image, it would be this. You are not walking in darkness down a hollow corridor. Even if it feels like you're stumbling forward, there is a hand, firm and unseen, guiding you step by step to a clearing, where your lungs will finally exhale as if surfacing from a storm and placing your feet on solid ground. And now, my love, there is one thing I must ask, a question you've perhaps avoided, not because it is hard, but because it is final, the kind of question that unlocks doors. If answered without embellishment, like the sea returning only what no longer belongs to the shore. So let me ask you, gently but without flinching, what part of your life are you still clinging to? Only because you're afraid of being alone. Don't answer out loud, not yet. Let the question move through your body first. Feel where it lands. Write it down. If it helps release the ache, breathe through the discomfort it brings. You owe no one an immediate reply, but you do owe yourself the truth, because the moment you answer, even in silence, is the moment you stop orbiting around someone else's gravity and return to your own center. Sometimes, writing something down is the beginning of a liberation your soul has been craving for years. And my dear Sagittarius, I can feel it. A decision has been circling your mind for months, like a seabird that refuses to land. You already know what it is. You don't need me to name it. You've tried to outrun it, numbing it with work, duty, distractions. But its rhythm always returns. A heartbeat in the background, a thought at midnight, a silence that grows louder each day. And tomorrow, life will hold it up in front of you, like a mirror that can no longer be covered with a quilt of denial. It won't come from pressure. It won't be forced by others. It will arise from within. And when it does, you'll feel the truth blooming like fire in your chest and light behind your eyes. So when the moment comes, corner the lie. Face it. Because your own light will reveal your value with such clarity that you will no longer be able to pretend you don't see it. And once you see your worth, you can't unsee it. That's when a new phase begins. Even if your knees tremble at first, your breath will find its rhythm, and you will walk, not away, but toward your center. Let these words reach you as if we were sitting beside a fire, letting this story warm the soul. The pain you felt lately is not a punishment. It's not a cruel twist of fate. It's a loving warning from the universe, a sacred signal for sensitive hearts like yours, the kind that feel what others miss. You knew this. You felt the rising tides inside you. But you kept covering them, pressing bandages over what has been screaming for freedom. That won't work anymore. And I say this not with judgment, but with the gentleness of an elder who has watched many souls finally find healing. The moment they stopped bowing to denial and stood up to face their own truth with dignity. You are being summoned into something far greater than the confusion of this chapter. What lies ahead carries the peace of a long-awaited homecoming, the quiet joy of being in the right place. Not because it was easy, but because it was true. And when you get there, and you will, you'll look back with a smile of clarity, wondering why it took so long to release what was never really holding you. But to arrive there, you must pass through the narrow path of revelation. And yes, you will do it with your head held high. Even if the waves rise inside you, even if your soul aches with exhaustion from shrinking to fit places that were never meant to contain you. Life has called your name, and it is preparing to give you a gentle, unmistakable push. One that will change how you see yourself and how others see you. It's not a threat, it's a promise, a spiritual rite of passage. But there's someone who has been stirring your energy field, someone who moved in and out of your world like the tide, leaving footprints on the sand only to vanish without warning. They've confused you, watched you, pulled you into emotional uncertainty like the moon pulling tides behind a veil of clouds, and you, the seeker of truth, have questioned if they're still hovering nearby, if their intentions were ever pure, if they will return. Their presence will play a key role in what is revealed to you tomorrow, and what you learn about their real motivations will shift your understanding of the entire past season and of your own desires. So, take this moment, breathe, and ask yourself, not with fear, not with guilt, but with truth. What part of my life am I still clinging to just because I fear being alone? Don't rush the answer. Let it move through you. Feel it. Write it if needed. This is your private altar, a sacred clearing, because only when you release that fear can the new chapter begin. The one written not from avoidance, but from self-worth. And from that place, a peace deeper than certainty will rise. The kind that doesn't beg to be seen. The kind that leads. There's a truth that's never been spoken out loud, but it's about to rise. And this time, you won't be able to look away. And now, dear Sagittarius, your soul, unfiltered, wide awake, must pay close attention, because the path ahead depends on that clarity. Come closer, beloved. This is the part of the journey where truth may sting, but it will also relieve a weight you've carried far too long. I speak to you now with the calm of someone who's watched wounds heal faster when they're allowed to breathe, rather than being wrapped in beautiful fabrics of denial. This is about the one who drifted in and out of your world, tossing your heart from one edge to another like a leaf in a reckless gust of wind. There were moments you felt seen, understood, even safe, like home. And then, suddenly, a chill, a distance, a gesture that shook your trust, that made you question your place. You know exactly who I'm talking about. I don't need to say their name. Your heart already knows. And more than once, you've sensed the shadow in their behavior. That hairline fracture you pretended wasn't there. Not out of naivety, not out of lack of intuition. No, your intuition is pure. It flows like a clear spring and notices every subtle shift. You ignored the signs, not because you were blind, but because you loved, because you hoped, because part of you needed to believe you could hold a real place in their world, because they knew how to make you feel special, just enough, in the exact moments your soul ached for affection. But let me tell you something you may not have said to yourself yet, at least not with enough strength. You deserve consistency, not confusion, presence, not scraps, clarity, not long silences that swallow your voice whole. You deserve a love that does not injure your sense of worth for even one breath. And that kind of love is approaching, maybe not with fanfare, maybe not through grand gestures, but it will arrive in the form of what cannot be faked, transparency. So what are their true intentions? You'll find out, not through confrontation, but through something smaller. A quiet comment, a simple offer, a behavior so unmistakably clear that it becomes the doorway you were meant to walk through. And yes, it might sting, but it will also let you breathe deeper than you have in months, because your intuition, finally affirmed, can stop wrestling with logic. Please, Sagittarius, remember this: what's coming isn't disguised loss, it's a visible opportunity, disguised as closure. It isn't here to take love away from you, it's here to restore your dignity. It doesn't want to abandon you. It wants to clear the space for something that is truly yours. You're not being exiled. You're being led to a shoreline where the tides no longer tug you backward, where the water is still, the air is kind, and you finally understand the direction home. I see it clearly now. A ribbon of light stretching ahead of your feet like the ocean's lantern, guiding sailors safely into harbor. Let me pass along something an elder once told me. A truth time has etched into stone. When the soul is ready for real change, life sends an emotional challenge. Not to punish, but to cleanse. That strange sensation in your chest lately, part longing, part anxiety, part intuitive tremor, isn't a flaw. It's your heart warning you that it can no longer survive on half-truths, half-loves, or half-presences. Your heart is done negotiating. It's asking, no, demanding, wholeness. And one more thing, dear one. You are not responsible for anyone else's behavior. Not the hot and cold lover. Not the one who forgot your worth. Not the one who stayed silent when you needed honesty. Your job isn't to make them better. It's to protect the soul you've been entrusted to. Yours. You are not responsible for someone else's indecision, for the way they drift in and out like a tide that forgets where it came from. You, with your love, have always shown up in your own way, and that alone is sacred. What's coming now will draw a bold line between what you've endured because you feared loneliness and what you now accept because you love yourself too much to keep begging for crumbs. Because, Sagittarius, you are the main character here. You, with your wisdom, with your fire, with the quiet ache in your chest that's finally ready to be heard, are about to step into a truth that no longer leaves you behind. And as I speak to you now, I feel a fiercely protective feminine presence around you. Someone from your lineage. She is watching, covering, holding you like a warm blanket as you begin to tremble with the decision you already know you must make. Her eyes are gentle, and in her hands she shows me the image of an old key. Not a key meant for anyone else. Not a key found in a stranger's hand. It's yours. And tomorrow, life will ask you to use it without hesitation, because there's a door that only opens from the inside, and no one, absolutely no one, has access to that lock but you. This kind of confidence, it feels almost like a family secret passed down in whispers, generation after generation. You are never broken. You are just waiting to remember what was always yours. When the soul gets stuck between what it was and what it longs to become, when it gives more than it receives, when it feels seen and then forgotten, its light begins to dim, quietly. But Sagittarius, you were never lost. You just needed time to recharge, to sever the old threads, to open the window and let life surprise you with what waits beyond the fear. You are the child of movement and fire, but also of intuitive rhythm. You were never meant to remain stagnant. You were born to flow like a tide, to surge forward, pull back for breath, then rise again. But this time, with more clarity. Whatever happens tomorrow, even if it leaves you thoughtful or shaken, it will bless you with one rare gift: certainty. For the first time in a long while, you will know exactly where your heart belongs and exactly what to do to care for it. That is a miracle not everyone gets. And I've watched you, dear one, as you walk this uncertain path. There is still one final piece I must place in your hands. Come here. Sit close, and let me tell it to you with the patience of a grandfather who has only ever wanted one thing for you: peace, clarity, and comfort. Don't fear what I'm about to say, because what I carry is not judgment, but relief. All the silences that wounded you, all the contradictions that left you dizzy, all the shocks you couldn't explain, they weren't random. They were signals. They were life's way of telling you, gently, insistently, this chapter is already over. You knew. Even if you couldn't say it, you knew it in the pauses that hurt more than words. You knew it in the way your body tensed in rooms you once called safe. And now, I am here to say it aloud for you, without shame, without blame. You've reached the end of this stage, and though it may ache, your soul is ready to breathe naturally again. What happens tomorrow may feel like a flicker of light through a small crack you'd always sensed, but were afraid to open it, walk through it, and say, as clearly and powerfully as you can, I no longer shrink for anyone. I no longer question what I know. I walk in clarity. I speak with dignity. I choose peace, even if I must walk alone to find it. This is your final gift. You are not being left behind. You are being invited forward, not as a half version of yourself, not as someone waiting to be chosen, but as someone who finally remembers you were the one holding the key all along. What's coming will reveal who stood by you unconditionally, who was simply passing through, and who truly deserves a seat at the table of your heart. But more sacred than that, it will reveal your own strength, the one you thought you'd lost. But that has been quietly lifting you, waiting for you to trust yourself again. That protective presence I felt earlier, it's still with us. She shows me your nights, the ones when sleep escapes you and memory pulls you back into waters you thought you'd already crossed. She whispers something precious to me. They don't yet know the light that flows from their waters the moment they choose peace over noise, clarity over confusion, self-love over hurt. That light, Sagittarius, will unlock new doors. It will magnetize healthier relationships, projects that align with your true voice, and invitations that feel like home to your soul, not performance. There are paths waiting for you to stop explaining away what has already crumbled. The moment you create space, you'll see them. And when you do, you'll wonder why you ever doubted yourself. Remember this vision. You're walking a damp stone path, and from afar, a wooden door creaks open. Warm light spills out. Calm, steady, welcoming. That door is your near future. A chapter filled with emotional stability, honest conversations, clear decisions, and connections that don't need masks. The only key: don't carry what's not meant to follow you through. Don't exhaust yourself trying to convince someone who never wanted to understand. Don't hold on to what only survives because you keep feeding it. Sometimes life sets us free by taking away what we're too afraid to let go of. Yes, I know, that idea can feel terrifying, but on the other side is peace. Let me say this to you directly now, as one who has watched countless storms. You deserve to be loved, without doubt, to be held, without hesitation, to be seen, with the reverence reserved for something truly rare. And all of that is closer than you think, but it cannot arrive until you make room. This week, especially tomorrow, the universe will help you clean the emotional room you've filled with just-in-case thoughts. It may arrive as a soft realization or a small emotional quake. Let it. Breathe through it. You won't lose anything that was truly meant for you. What falls away now had no roots. What comes next will grow beside you, and you'll recognize it by the peace it brings and the strength it awakens. Let me offer you a final gift, a sacred moment, a quiet ritual. Place one hand on your chest, and if you feel cold, repeat this aloud with your full heart. I choose my peace. I honor my heart. I open my waters to receive true love. Let that ripple through you like a spring tide returning home. Breathe in. Feel it settle to seal the energy with shared or resonance. You may write this in the comments like tucking a seashell into your pocket. I choose peace, and let truth lead the way. When you're ready, write it. No rush. Like someone lighting a candle in the window, reminding themselves where home truly is. Before I go, let me leave you with one last seed, one that may bloom in the coming days. Imagine this. You're no longer afraid of someone leaving. You're no longer burdened by what can't stand on its own. You are free to choose what keeps you alive. From that place, with the courage only clarity can bring, ask yourself, if I had no fear of losing anyone, what would I choose today to make sure I don't lose myself? Sit with that. Let your breath carry it through you. The answer is already waiting in your heart. You've known it for a long time, and I will stay here, watching the tide rise with the sun, trusting that what's waiting for you will be worth every steady step and every open-armed embrace you are ready to give.